welcome to the Jungle Room. Once again, guys, want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Our first and still our only revolutionary sponsor, Mob Entertainment. They have, well, just take a peek.
Terrible things have happened. Where do I even begin? You are perfect. Too perfect to lose. You're in grave danger. She's watching your every move. So you better be careful. Mommy doesn't like guests. A new playmate! It's been so long.
There. Another one of our sponsors, Rusty's Potato Chips. Natural cut and delicious. Bulk Realty is a second-year sponsor for us. Shout out to Brandon and Melissa Bulk. Just want to remind you guys that last year at the festival, they donated tickets to their ALS charity fundraiser, and that raised over $13,000 for ALS charity. If you guys know anything about ALS, it is brutal, and research is obviously still developing, so thank you to them. And we do have other sponsorship announcements coming soon, not soon enough that they will be announced on today's episode. So anyway, guys, without further ado, we're going to jump right into the movies. This is a no frills, no chills, no brills, no blibbity bloopity bloop bloop bloop. All we're doing is watching movies and reviewing them. Since Film Freeway is where we are doing all of our submission entries, we're going to go ahead and use their judging criteria for each of these movies. So you can get 10 points for originality and creativity, direction, writing, cinematography, performances, production value, pacing, structure, sound, and music. And then an average. Since this is the first episode, I don't know what the rating is we're looking for. There are 3 judges. I am the only one who is going to be doing these episodes every single week, but some of them will be jumping in periodically. So without further ado, we're going to watch actually our first submission by director Harry Waldman. Harry, how you doing? Enter the Room. I'm excited about this one. The poster was really neat. I'll post that here. And if these projects have a trailer, I will post that as well. Here we go.
Do you think it's fair of you to use my shower, cook on my stove, sleep on my couch, and use my parking spot without giving me anything in return?
Sorry.
You took the L and now you're sitting on my bed.
I'm sorry.
Are you gonna turn the TV off?
Sorry.
Did you use my laundry detergent?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 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 I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 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 I'm sorry. 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 Sorry.
Cool. Just finished Enter the Room by Harry Waldman. I'm not going to do any of the judging on the actual Philip Freeway, but I'm going to take a couple of minutes here and just talk about the movie. So, the movie was... I don't want to give anything away, and I refuse to do that because it wouldn't be fair to the filmmakers. But let's just say it's about brothers coping with something. I'm going to jump through these categories before I kind of just organically talk about this. Originality, creativity. It was approached really originally. Really pretty interesting. The story itself was not original at all in terms of, guilt or whatever you want to call what this movie was about. That wasn't necessarily original, but the approach to it was original. So I'd give it a thumbs up on originality. Direction. I think the direction was excellent. Because the brothers in this were very on point. They were really at each other's throats. You really saw things progress according to the narrative. So I think the direction was really good on this. I remember being really impressed with some of the cuts because it all took place in just a tiny apartment. Writing. I think the writing was really strong in moments. For me, it fell apart a little bit at the end. They kind of leaned on some crazy editing a little bit too much, in my opinion. But the writing was strong. The dialogue was really good. It really dug at a point for the entire time. There wasn't really like a solid first act, second act, third act, which doesn't always have to happen, but I would say that overall the writing was good, more so the dialogue. The overall story arc to me was a little bit weak. The cinematography was, no frills to it. They took some chances. They were able to match up eye lines really nice, which is something that I look for in independent films because I feel like that's a hard thing to do. So the cinematography, it served its purpose. It wasn't particularly good. There wasn't a lot of thought put into lighting. It was kind of just just standard, told the story, and then there was a little bit of crazy red lighting and a little bit of crazy blue lighting, but no, there was no finesse to the cinematography. Performances. I thought the performances were good. I do believe they fell apart a little bit at the end, but the performances were probably one of the highlights of this thing. These guys really felt like brothers going at it, and they were peculiar. One of the characters who was doing the most of the hassling about his younger brother coming and kind of mooching off him, staying at his apartment, that he was great. It was really an annoying character, and I felt annoyed as fuck. So I think that that's a good thing. Production value, none. That was not good, but they didn't need it. The apartment was the apartment, period. Pacing. The pacing was great. The pacing was, I think it was a little bit long. I think they could have accomplished this in a shorter amount of time, but the pacing was good, and it led to a bit of a fever pitch at the end. So good on pacing. Structure, non-existent. I would say that the pacing kind of took over for the structure, because the beginning was fine. They established that the brother was staying there, and the end was fine. The end fell apart, but it gave you what the ending was. This movie was really all about the middle. They could have almost not had a plot line to this, or not had an arc, and just it been about a brother being an annoying asshole about his little brother coming to stay with him. Sound and music, not good. I thought that some of the music choices were smart, but they just didn't have a good command of that. So anyway, overall, this movie was Obviously a super independent movie, so fucking rock and roll for that. I love that. It was unique. It was creative. They just didn't really put anything into set design, production design, lighting. It was really just, this movie could have been shot on an iPhone, which is not a knock to the movie. We'll see what the other judges think. I personally am a big fan of a really cinematic approach to movies, but this one had a little bit of a Duplass Brothers feel. This kind of felt to me a little bit like the Duplass Brothers meet The Machinist. So overall, I would say that this movie was okay. It was a cool attempt, and it was they knew what they were doing. They skipped all the frills and they went straight for the story, and they did a good job with that. So anyway, Enter the Room, Harry Walden. Cool. Thank you for submitting. On to the next movie for episode. I love this, man. I love watching movies, no matter, honestly, even sometimes if they're bad. But the first one was interesting. So the next movie we're watching is by director Jason Sheedy. And it is called, I want to get this right, The Mages of Rage and the Desecration of the House of Mimicry. Unless it's the House of Mimicry, and it's some kind of weird play on words. But anyway, badass title, and it's about 25 minutes, so I'm gonna, let's see, on time. I'm just gonna dig right in now.
Is this Timmy Slit's house? Why are we here?
With this song and this video, the Mages of Rage are going to continue his legacy right where it left off.
So that's the name we're going with?
I just bought 500 t-shirts for the tour, so yeah.
Okay, well, interesting. It's just we didn't talk about it or discuss it. We're a band, so anyways.
1, 2, 3, 4! I will never die. I will never die. I'm dying.
Run. Oh, come on! Oh, fuck, he's got a leaf blower. There's no way that I'm gonna become a victim in this thing's House of Hell crop dust trail. Silent but deadly. Go, 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 go!
Hell yeah.
Wait until there was blood. No. There's a crap out of the bathroom.
Okay, just finished Jason Sheedy's movie. Let me state the title one more time. The Mages of Rage and the Desecration of the House of Mimicry. So my first thought is just, wow, that they left no stone unturned. That movie was very, very, very carefully looked after by the filmmakers. So to the filmmakers, fuck yeah, good work. I mean, it was, I'll give you an example. There's just one small scene where the guy lifts his phone up to his ear and it's kind of a close-up. And the back of his phone has a sticker that says "Thick Girls Only." The movie was filled with moments like that where just like a lot of thought went into everything. There was never an empty wall. There was never an empty shot. There was never a joke that didn't play and pay off. So anyway, I enjoyed this one a lot. So originality and creativity. These are the Film Freeway judging insights. So originality and creativity, pretty original. Pretty original. They had a mime. You know what? Once again, it wasn't that the story was so original. It was that their elements of the story were so original. It was these dudes basically in like a haunted kind of space, and they were playing some dead guy's guitar, and there was clearly some kind of a curse. Well, at one point, a fucking mime comes in and like starts attacking them, but I don't know. It was just, the originality was just superb. Direction, fantastic. I'm assuming it's the director who looked after all these tiny little elements, and they paid off big time. Writing, excellent. I think it was too long, just my honest opinion. But everything in there was so smart, and the movie, it certainly moved from point A to point Z, but in between there were all these little things. Like there was this moment where one of the characters says to the other after another guy, let's just say something happens to him, he's like, hey, he was a skinhead. He's like, no, he wasn't, he had hair. And then he says, do you see the tattoo on his right arm? Yeah. What'd you think that was? I thought he just really liked windmills. No, that was a swastika or something like that. The exchange happened like that. And then you see the tattoo later. I mean, it's just all of the little elements played into this thing worked so well. The cinematography was perfect. It was really good. It looked like a really, they even threw in a mini music video in the middle of it. It wasn't like Godfather level cinematography, but it was really smart. The framing was really good. They used their characters well. They used their space incredibly well. The performances were just spot on, especially for like independent film, just like this kind of quippy style, just spot on. Production value was the best part of this whole thing. I mean, I'd love to know what the budget on this was, because they left no stone unturned. The production value was incredible. The pacing, that's the one thing that I would give them a little bit of if I had to say one negative, I would say that the pacing it felt a little bit long, and there's no one area that I can point to, but I think that this movie, I think it was about 15 minutes. I think this movie could have been about 9 minutes. Not that I was bored or anything throughout. It was just that I feel like there was a point that they needed to get to. And it made it feel like, to me, by the time they got to the point, it didn't feel worth it. Takes nothing away from the movie, because the movie was just hilarious. Like, I was laughing out loud. I rarely laugh. Comedies are having a rough time, and this one did a great job. Structure. Yeah, again, I'd say structure and pacing kind of tie in together. There was not like these are short films, so they are different. They're kind of just a little slice of time. But there wasn't like a massively clear beginning, middle, and end. Or I didn't see one, so I'm not going to say anything negative about that. Sound and music. Oh, top notch. The sound design was some of the best, especially because there was a mime doing all this crazy shit, and you had to make believe that he had a chainsaw or an axe getting smacked into the wall. I'm going to add something on here that's not on here. Their VFX were just incredible. Overall, I think that this movie is one that we are definitely going to see get into the later stages of the film festival. I can't commit to anything being in now because we have such a short window of playtime for movies. But this one is definitely one that's going to continue to progress, and one we're going to have to revisit. So to Jason Sheedy and your entire team, dude, fucking right. This movie was, hey, punk rock never dies, or punk rockers never die, or punks never die, or whatever was kind of the theme of this thing. You guys absolutely nailed it, and it was a pleasure to watch from the title screen through all the laughs all the way to the end. Awesome. Thank you. So, okay, guys, well, that's it for today on the Jungle Room. We just watched a couple movies. Those were some longer short films. It's funny that movies are relative, right? Like, one movie can seem really good, but then when you know you can only let 10 movies or so into the festival, you realize, oh, well, this one was clearly better, and you have to start taking that into consideration. I know budgets are a huge factor. It looked like Jason Sheedy's movie had a pretty nice budget to it, but yeah, 2 enjoyable films to watch, and looking forward to seeing you all next week, guys. I'm going to tag the filmmakers in here and get some of this up on Instagram and all that, but thanks for your time, thanks for watching, and mostly to the filmmakers, thank you guys for submitting. And one last shout out to our sponsors, Mob Entertainment, Rusty's Chips, and Bulk Realty. Of course, Kalinga Production Studios as well, as always, and the Gung Ho Jungle. So we'll see you guys at the Gung Ho Revolution. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Jungle Room, where we watch and review your submissions. Thanks, guys.